Happy Friday, powerful leaders. I hope you had an amazing week. I am so excited for today's episode because I get asked a lot, like, Anna, like, what else can I do, besides Facebook groups or challenges or emails or social media to grow my business and get more clients. And this next guest, she is the co-founder of Genesis Digital, and her company has done over 100 million in revenue from Webinar Jam and Kartra. So she knows all about webinars, and in this episode, she explains to us why are webinars so beneficial to grow our businesses. And I love, love, love her perspective. And, her story is so empowering. And this is why I'm bringing you this amazing interview. So, like always, if you enjoy it, make sure to share it with a friend, subscribe, and let us know, like, what was your biggest insight from this episode. So, without further ado, let's do this. Welcome to the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Patricia Bourgeois, certified business coach. I am here to help you up-level, generate consistent wealth, increase your confidence, attract dream clients, and master your mindset so that you can fully own your power and achieve next-level results in your online business and beyond. Every week, a powerful conversation will take place with amazing guests, or I'll share from my experience to help inspire you to start and scale the business of your dreams while being powerfully you. The time has come to stop playing small, stop hiding, and stop waiting. Now is the perfect time for you to passionately pursue your heart's desire as the powerful leader you were born to be. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. I am here today with Sarah. Hey, girl.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. This is so cool.
Of course. I'm so excited to chat. So feel free to take us on and share with us who you are, what you do, and what got you into what it is that you do.
So my name is Sarah Jenkins. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Genesis Digital, and it owns software. So I have a membership site, shopping cart, merchant services, all in Kartra.com. And then I've got webinar services with Webinar Jam and EverWebinar. So you could pursue online business if you're an entrepreneur or a small home office. So that's mainly what I do. I own real estate on the side, and I'm putting out a book later this year called Alpha Female Leadership, actually.
Ooh.
So could be good. We'll see.
Yeah, I love that title. That's for sure.
Thank you.
So let us know, like, in your life, like, how do you feel like has leadership like impacted you in your business, in your life, and how are you still growing your leadership?
Those are great questions. I have a fantastic sort of story, but I got into internet marketing back when I was 20. We owned SoCalWorkout.com, the number one website in Orange County for personal training, which was super cool because we hired these experts, we hired these consultants, and some of our questions were so lame and so stupid. It was like, how do you get an email? Set up just a Gmail. And they're like, are you kidding me? I was like, no, we're going to succeed online. Trust me. And then we did really well learning the SEO and learning how to get your website ranked for local. And so eventually we got so full of clients. So we had to hire out clients to other trainers. And then from there, we're like, we should be teaching trainers outside of our local how to do it. So we did fitness marketing for a long time. And with fitness marketing, we found out you needed a membership site. You needed a website. You needed a merchant account. You need affiliates, package on the back end of your software. So my late husband and I started Kartra.com and Webinar Jam. Kartra does all of those things. Like, so when I put out my book, right, it's going to go on Kartra.com, my website, and then it will get I'll sell it from there, and it will have pages and links and everything perfectly set up because Kartra was designed for the entrepreneur in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that so much. So, why would you like? What would you say to someone who says, "Oh, I'm not big into like tech; it's too complicated." Like, what would you tell them about how your software works?
Well, for going a tiny bit back to the one question you said about the leadership, I was like, that's where
Yeah,
I was pushed into these positions as we improved our business quickly. So you have to learn as you go, right? So if
yeah,
you're doing personal training, you're suddenly too full of clients, what are you going to do? You have to figure it out. So at that point, you're
yeah,
pushed to be almost like a different person in your own business, which is healthy. You have to hire people if
yeah.
you're going to grow and scale. And when my late husband passed away, he was the CEO and I was the vice president. And then I had to become the CEO really fast. So
Mm,
it was a skill I did not have naturally. I had to grow into it and learn a lot.
mm,
Like, would you say you're naturally a leader or did you kind of acquire it?
yeah. I feel like it's both.
Probably
like,
both. You probably have some of it in you.
yeah, I have it in me for sure. But I've definitely had to like go into those like stretch out of my comfort zone moments to
Hmm.
grow into it even further, you know?
Yeah. So that's what happened to me. I had to grow into it. But then I'm all about self improvement. Like when I said I joined mentorship programs, I had consultants, I went to
Mhm.
seminars and read books on how to grow your business, how to be a good CEO. Like it's the education that you do for yourself, for your business. And that's where I
Mhm.
got some of those ways of growing into the CEO that I am today and still growing because you're never too stuck to change.
Yeah. Ah, I love that. That's so true. And let's talk about webinars. Like, I know they're a really cool and fun way to get more people inside your programs, grow your business. And yeah, like how would you say like webinars like have impacted like your clients or your business?
If you are not doing webinars and you have a product for sale on the internet, you're probably
Mhm.
making a mistake because
Ooh.
video makes more money than anything. You see that with TikTok, you see it with Instagram. It's all reels now,
Mhm.
it's all videos, it's all
Mhm.
personal contact feeling. So if you're doing a
Mhm.
webinar, this is a really good industry for financial advisors and mortgage brokers or independent. They should do a webinar, a live webinar with their potential clients, like set it up on Webinar
Mm.
Jam, you get the schedule, you get a text out with the link to the person. It's private registration. It's all this cool
Mhm.
stuff you can do on a webinar. But really, you just need to get them going. And then when you're on that webinar with your clients, they can type in questions. You can ask them polls, and that will
Mm.
guide them to asking you questions more about your product. And then you can have a link pop up at the bottom of your webinar. And with every webinar, you can have them auto recorded. So, like, say twice a week, you'll be like, hey, my webinar about mortgage, brokering is going to be at 3 o'clock on Tuesday and Thursday, and it can be recorded.
Mm.
And then you only have to do it once, and you can set it to replay every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 o'clock. So it's doing the work for
Wow.
you.
Yeah. Ah, I love that. Working smart, not hard.
Mhm. Yeah, one of our best clients used to you would have a webinar every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you landed on his page, it says you want to learn more about my consulting, the webinar is starting right now. Put your email in
Mm.
here, and it was a recorded webinar about how he's a great coach and you should hire him, and it was awesome. And he played it totally overran my system because we were small back then, and he had
Yeah.
this video replaying this big webinar every 10 minutes. I was like, dude, you're not paying me enough. But it made buku bucks for him. It was really cool the way he set it up to automate his whole business to get them right into his coaching program.
Wow. That's amazing. I love it. So definitely check it out. Like if you're like, how can I grow even more and you haven't done it before, that could be a good way to stretch outside that comfort zone like we were
You
saying.
you don't need to be on camera either. You could do it with slide presentations and voiceover. AI can do it for you. It doesn't have to be your voice. It's crazy what you can do now. And if it's not
Wow.
my webinar software, get a different one. But do webinars, get yourself on video, at least your product and your message on video.
Yeah, video is so powerful. Like I've been using it since I started my business. I
Of
remember
course.
being so awkward though at first, but you get better at it.
Well, if you check out my podcast, I hate it too, but I'm new, so that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we all go through those growth moments. And I feel like it's more about like the repetition and the consistency. And the more you do it, the better you get at it, you know?
Well, you seem very comfortable and fluid. I'm a less so. It's okay.
We're all been there. We're gonna go and get better for sure. Um, so yeah, so I've read about your story a little, and I saw that you had 8 siblings and you were homeschooled and you were a college dropout. So I want you
Yeah.
to share with us more about that story.
I
Yeah.
got C pluses and I tried really hard. So like I'm not a student per se.
Yeah.
But we were raised in a very, very strict religion that's now been labeled a cult. It's now shut down
Oh
as well, which is great.
wow.
But
Wow.
we were homeschooled. I have 8 siblings. My mom had 9 kids. Her youngest is actually the same age as my oldest. So that was a fun
Mhm.
year. I eloped when I was 20, pregnant with my first daughter in Vegas.
Wow.
And my parents were so proud. But yeah, we didn't make it super, super long, but my next husband and I did that card show webinar startup.
Mhm.
And what I found happening was every time I'm pushed into something, it's I have to rely a lot on instinct because I don't have the training. I didn't have the school. I didn't have the education. Like from
Mm.
homeschooled, I went to college. I
Mhm.
did 2 years in one and 2 tests away from my AA. I dropped out because they didn't like me. And
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
like them either because it's a cult school. I'm very independent. So that did not work out. But I have not been college educated, so I have to educate myself by buying the books, by listening to like your podcasts and stuff, by going to seminars and learning what I can because I
Mm.
was homeschooled. And now I homeschool my kids. I
Oh,
have
wow.
5 and we
Wow.
had 4 when my husband passed away 3 years ago, and now I have a baby. He's the light of my
Mhm.
life, but so are they all. So, so all of that is interesting. I don't know if that helps your audience at all, but
Yeah.
that overcoming some of those things, like no formal
Yeah.
education, no
Mhm.
attention as a kid, which I'm not bitter about. My parents did their best. They love me.
Mhm.
And I don't know, man, I just didn't have a lot going for me. And I pushed forward and I taught myself and I invested in
Wow.
myself.
Wow. That's what true leaders do. I love it.
I think entrepreneurial spirit, man, if you're listening to this podcast, you
Yeah.
probably have it.
Yeah. And I love that you're a mom. Like, we have a lot of entrepreneurial moms in here. So, what would you say is like your number one tip to like juggle it all and being a good mom and growing a business and doing it all?
So I actually say, women, you can have it all. You can be a
Yeah.
stay-at-home mom, work for yourself, own your own company, make millions like I do. You can
Yeah.
have it all. You got to give yourself a little bit of a break and maybe some therapy, but also, you know, push forward every day. What are you going to do to build your business or build your family? Like it's a balance. And it's never going to be
Mm.
balanced. Some days you'll work until midnight and you're up at 6, and some days you'll sit on your couch with your kids all day watching Cocomelon. I don't know, but those are important to have both in your life because your family is your everything and you're building a business for them. So put your kid on your lap when
Yes.
you're doing a Zoom call if they can be quiet. Like have your kids
Mhm.
around you as much as possible while you're working. If they can
Mm.
enjoy it, listen to you, they'll pick up stuff and it's important for them.
Wow. I love that you said that. It's like including them instead of like being stressed out of like, oh my gosh, like I have this to do. You're including them in your day to day. I love it.
How often did y'all hold the flashlight for our dad fixing a car or something and he just yelled at us to hold the light still? We were helping. We were doing a job. And now we know that dads should fix cars and kids should hold flashlight. You learn stuff and you have that bonding experience, negative or positive.
Yeah. Ah, this is so good. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, this is great. And so I ask this to everyone who comes on the show, and I'm curious to know your answer. So for you, what does it mean to be a powerful leader?
Interesting. That's a good question. Well, I love the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's my favorite book
Mhm.
that changed the way I thought about leadership and the way I thought
Yeah.
about guiding. So I said manipulate, and when my girlfriend goes, no, persuade. I was like, oh, I see what you did there. One feels good, one doesn't. But if you're persuading people to improve themselves, their lives, their families, or whatever,
Mm.
you can have all the confidence in the world that your kids are going to need that too. And so as you're doing it in your personal life, like I raise my kids
Mhm.
free range. I don't tell them put shoes on outside. They usually don't. I don't tell them they can't climb to the top of the tennis court, fire pole. They can, but if they get hurt, that's on them. And I do my workers, my business the same way though. I'm like, hey, we have this project. We have to get it
Mhm.
done. Could you maybe this week get me a list of what it's going to take and who's going to do it? And they all get together and do those things. But I don't micromanage. I don't say, how many hours did you take doing this? How long do you need for this thing? I'm like, hey, this is what I need. I trust you to get it to me as soon as possible. And they're like, okay. Everyone works from home in my company, 100% remote. I have 130 employees.
Wow.
You can't micromanage a home employee, but you want to hire the ones that will give you their best work. So I learned in my household, raising my kids, some of the way I want to teach them independent responsibility is what I do to my staff.
Wow, this is amazing. So it's all about trusting others and really knowing that they're gonna get the work done, you know?
And expect them to. If I have high
Yeah.
expectations of my kids that they can go to church dressed up, sit down and be quiet and listen to the sermon at the same time they could go to a rave with me, like you have to develop those relationships carefully, but once you have them, you're great.
Yeah. Yeah, setting up those expectations. I love it. It's so true. And we don't even think about it sometimes, but it's so
Oh my
essential, you
God.
know?
I almost feel like maybe that's sort of a little bit why I got into the CEO position quickly enough is because I was pushed into it. I didn't have a choice. So I became
Mm,
a much better leader because I had to.
yes. Ah, this is such a good conversation.
I'm glad. I've been a work stay-at-home mom since I was
Yeah.
22 and I never look back. I love it. I have my kids on the Zoom calls sitting beside me
Yeah.
if they want to listen.
I love it. Love it so much. So, yeah, do you have, any last piece of wisdom, anything you truly want to share with our audience today?
Listen twice as much as you speak. 2 ears, one mouth.
Mm.
Give yourself a break. You're doing
Mhm.
great. And invest in yourself. Always be improving, always be learning, always be willing to
Yes.
take the criticisms. As women, I will tell you, I work with mostly men. My husband's so funny. He's like, Sarah and all her men. I'm sitting in a boardroom with like 12 dudes and me, all in their like 60s. I'm like, this is great. It's like I'm a politician. um, but like they don't think that I'm going to be as good as I am sometimes. And I love it when they
Yeah.
underestimate me because I sit and I
Mm.
listen. And when I do make a mistake, one of my guys goes, hey, here's what you did wrong. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, tell me, I can take it. It didn't hurt my feelings. I wasn't angry. So if you're
Mhm.
listening and asking for advice and help, take the
Mm.
criticisms. Don't get your feelings hurt. Relax. Let it come. Let it go. Get angry if
Mm.
someone said something negative about you, like you mumble or you're not dressed appropriately for this
Yeah.
meeting. If someone criticizes you, take it as a learning experience and be grateful for it. I love when I'm criticized in my board meetings from the people that
Mhm.
work for me because I'm like, okay,
Mm.
great. I'm going to take what you said and I'm going to either put it in perspective of them and their opinion, or I'm going to learn from it and do better.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Don't take things so personal.
Do not with that's the one thing with women, man, if a dude
Yeah.
says, "That's the wrong move," don't be like, "No, it's not." Be like, "Oh, okay, why do you think that is? Why would you think it's the wrong move? What would you do?" And then just take it in and make the right decision. You know the right decision.
Yes, everything is feedback for you to get better. I love it.
Mhm.
So good.
Exactly. Your kids tell you when your breath stinks, your coworker will tell you when you're being a shit boss. Handle it.
You're so funny.
Because I have 5 kids and I'm a widow, newly married, like CEO of a lot of people in different countries. I gotta be.
Yes, love it. So I know people will want to go connect with you, follow you, learn more about your services, your products. So where can they go to do that?
Well, I'm a total asshole. I don't have any of my professional sites even set up. I have my company site, Justice Digital, to find my products. I recommend
Mhm,
Karch.com if you have an online business. I recommend Webinar Jam or just starting any webinar at all. But you can find
mhm,
Sarah Jenkins on LinkedIn, CEO
mhm.
and co-founder of Genesis Digital, and you can find me on Instagram. I think I miss Sarah Jenkins.
Amazing. Go check it
Yeah.
out. Sarah is amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks, Anna. Have a good day.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Powerful Female Leaders podcast. If you love this episode, make sure to spread the message, leave a review, and subscribe. I would forever be grateful for you. I also want to hear from you, and I want to know your feedback and your questions for future episodes. So don't be shy, say hi, and send me a message at Powerful Female Leaders Podcast on Instagram. Until then, I'll see you on the next episode.